Hey everybody, I'm Asia Dorsey Jackson, editor, author, and ghostwriter. So today I'm talking to business owners and aspiring nonfiction authors about ways to repurpose your existing content that you have on other platforms in order to create your book. I get a lot of questions about, how can I get started? How do you get content for your book? With people that are kind of stuck at that beginning phase of writing your book. If you're a business owner looking to publish a book as part of your business, you likely don't need to reinvent the wheel and start completely from scratch. You have probably come up with content that you can use and just repurpose to provide some of the content for your book or to at least give you a start with your book. So, some of the examples of the content that I'm talking about, podcast is a big one. If you have a podcast, that's a great place to start with getting content for your book. So, you can look at some of your past show topics. You can get some of your shows transcribed. I've had a few authors do this who had podcasts and they got their shows transcribed to feed a lot of the content into their book and to use some of the things that they've shared on the show to provide some book content. Even if it's just looking back at topics to get chapter titles, sections for your book, it's a really good place to start. Videos. If you created videos similar to this one on YouTube, Instagram, any type of social media platform, or your website, just like the podcast, you can use that content to feed content into your book. So again, look back at some of your video topics. Look at some of the things you discussed. If you can get some of those videos transcribed so that you can start with some content that you can have to go through and really start to compile your book without having to start again from scratch. Your blog. A blog is a really great content source because unlike your podcast, unlike your videos, your blog is already in a format that's written to be read. So it's a lot easier to work with sometimes than a podcast or a video, which is in a more conversational tone. My first book, Making Love in the Microwave, I pulled a lot of the content from my blog and added to it to write my book. It obviously wasn't my whole book, but I did use it, and that got me a long way from having to really just start from zero and write a book. Some things that most business owners have, everyone has some kind of presentation. If you've done courses and have course materials, worksheets, checklists, all of those are really great places to start gathering content. Again, most of those things are not going to take up a whole book, but if you really start to look at them, you can get clear on topics that are interesting. You can really start to get your wheels turning and pulling some ideas from those types of content. So when you start to compile these things, none of these things on their own is going to provide you all of the content for a book, but you'll start to see that you probably have more than you think you do in order to at least get started with writing your book. So that's all I wanted to share for today. If you want more from me, please visit me online at ajadorseyjackson.com, and I'll talk to you again soon.